person. We expect the two on stage right behind me. Any minute now that we hear he's running a few minutes late, give or take, but should be any minute. And like I said, capacity crowd ready for President Trump tonight, Arthel.
Hey, so, Kristen, do we know why Balderson is running kind of behind? I mean, he's ahead by 1 point, but he, as you said, this is a Republican stronghold. Why is he having such a tough time?
Well, some Republicans in the area would say that he hasn't been the best campaigner. He hasn't raised nearly as much money as O'Connor. Over the last FEC filing period, he raised just over $100,000, while Danny O'Connor, his opponent, raised $600,000. And then you just have to contend with the politics of the day. Right now, most observers believe that this is a blue wave, that Democrats have the wind at their backs and not Republicans. And that appears to be what's happening here, at least in terms of the energy. And, you know, in a special election, Arthel, it is all about turnout, especially a special election in the middle of the summer when a lot of folks aren't paying attention. So a lot of this may have to do with the fact that a lot of people, a lot of Democrats, the energy is simply on their side at the moment. And that's exactly what President Trump is doing here. He's trying to get more energy on the Republican side, bring his star power in, and hopefully that will energize Balderson supporters come Tuesday.
And lastly, Kristen, the president normally vamps at these types of events. Do you have any indication of what he might go off on script in terms of tariffs or anything else he might bring up when he usually takes advantage of the all eyes on him at the moment?
Well, based on his Twitter feed, he's going to be vamping about the tariffs and the economic numbers. Just yesterday, we learned that U.S. employers had added about 157,000 jobs in the month of July. The unemployment rate had dipped to 3.9%. And on his way here, he tweeted out 4 tweets all about these tariffs, which he believes are doing great things or will do great things, even though it really has started to hurt U.S. farmers, so much so that the Trump administration has had to give them about $13 billion in aid. But at that rally on Thursday, a few days ago, President Trump told them that they can handle it. They can weather this, to stick with it. They're tough. He'll probably have a similar message here tonight, I felt.
And Kristen, oftentimes when we're at events like this, campaign rallies, a lot of times the audience would just come up to you, the reporter, and just tell them what's on their minds. Have you heard anything from some of the folks there?
Well, people are very vocal, very friendly, actually. Folks here tonight really, honestly, they want to hear the president speak. A lot of these people are big supporters, big fans of President Trump. They're simply excited to be in the same room as him. I know that the primary purpose for him being here is to support Troy Balderson, and there are some Balderson supporters in the room. I've seen a lot of them, but most of the folks I talk to say that they've been watching President Trump in action for 2 years now, and they're just excited to see what he has to say tonight. Arthel.
Okay, well, they're excited about the president. We'll see if the president can get them excited about Balderson. We're excited about you always, Kristen Fisher. Thank you.
Thanks, Arthel. See ya.
And for more on tonight's rally and what's at stake to come on Tuesday's special election, we bring in now Jai Chabria. He is a former senior advisor to Governor John Kasich and managing director of Mercury LLC. Jay, if the president comes in, we'll obviously have to dip in, of course. But thanks for joining us this evening.
Thank you for having me.
This is a seat that has gone red since 1980. Did you ever in your wildest mind and wildest imagination believe that we would have this conversation of it possibly going blue?
Oh, absolutely. Look, if you actually understand the district, and this is the district I cut my political teeth on when I was 19 years old. I was going door to door in this seat, so I know this district pretty well. This is a highly affluent Republican district, a lot of suburbs of Columbus. It's not as strong a manufacturing base as some of these other districts in Ohio that you see, Youngstown and those other places too. But there's no doubt that the right kind of Democrat in the right kind of environment could win this district, and we've been talking about this for a long time. Now, the national media has just come in recently because it's what you do. It's the last special election before the election, and that's completely understandable. But this is definitely a toss-up district. It always has been. But the lucky thing for Republicans is
Jay, you say it's a toss-up district, but the outgoing Congressman Pat Tiberi had won this by 27 to 40 points in the last 3 races. How is that a swing district?
So you're correct. It's not a toss-up. I'm saying it's a toss-up district this time because the environment nationally and the historical trends of the party out of power losing seats. This is the kind of seat that can switch. It is a +7 percentage point district for Republicans, which is a solid district, but it's something that you can definitely tap into if the enthusiasm on the other side. And Democrats absolutely have enthusiasm. But what I was saying is the Republicans have a candidate that kind of fits the district, kind of in the mold of Pat Tiberi, kind of in the mold field of John Kasich when he was running before in this district. So when you have a good candidate, a candidate that is frankly going and doing the grassroots things that he needs to do, and you have a turnout mechanism like this rally today, you can basically very easily see a place where the blue wave kind of crashes.
Monmouth University put out a poll, and I wanted to show it to you. How closely have you been following the campaign? 24% say very closely, and this is voters in that district.
Right.
Somewhat closely, 42%. Those numbers were 6% and 35% in June, meaning that more people now, as you can see here, are actually paying attention to this race. As that has occurred, the numbers have moved toward Danny O'Connor's way. So do we read into that he has the momentum? And you know, with polling, it's not the snapshot at the moment, but the way things are moving into that snapshot. Are we to read into anything with that?
Well, yeah, you absolutely have to read into this. Look, this is, like I said, this is always going with this race, the special election, because special elections are a little bit weird, and we've seen them all around the country. They behave differently. This was always going to be a close race. I don't care who the Democrat was, unless they were a complete left-wing liberal and ran as a left-wing liberal, which Danny O'Connor's not. He's tried to position himself as a centrist. He's actually talked about how he is more in line with John Kasich in television ads, but John Kasich has endorsed Troy Balderson. So these are weird dynamics playing into it. Now, yes, you can read things into this race, into those polls. It is a close race. Troy Balderson it's going to be a very close race. It's going to go down to the wire. But this rally today, in my opinion, is one of those things that helps turn out the vote. All Troy Balderson needs from this rally is for Republicans to go out and vote, because there are a higher percentage of Republicans in the district, and he will end up winning this race.
Jay, you know what's going to happen if Balderson wins. Republicans are going to say, see, look, there's no such thing as a blue wave. And Democrats are going to say, this was a district that was 30-plus points, and now it's 1, 2, 3, whatever. There is a blue wave. And if O'Connor wins, Democrats are going to say, see, it's a blue wave. And Republicans are going to say, it's a bad candidate, and this is not necessarily an indication of what's going to come in November. Speaking of November, these two have to run off again. I know this question might sound blasphemous in a way, but does this race on Tuesday even matter, because they got to go through this again in 94 days?
That is one of the best questions you could be asking. This is one of those rare occurrences where you're going to have an instant rematch like 2 minutes after the final votes are counted. And it's a really bizarre thing. Now, this race will tell you something about the national election. It's going to be one piece of the jigsaw puzzle. And it's very rare that you have real-time data to go into less than 100 days in to say where the voters are in a seat like this. But it's not going to tell you. But national pundits are going to read way too much into this, no matter who wins. If it's Balderson or if it's O'Connor, they're going to have their own narrative. So where it's going to make a difference is with their national donors to say, hey, look, see, this is what we're going to tell you. But in my opinion, it's really not going to tell you what November is going to look like as much as people are going to say it is.
Republicans have thrown a lot of money, a few million at least, I believe, behind Balderson in what is normally a very safe seat. If he loses on Tuesday, or if this is as close as everyone feels, or at least the polls are showing, should they throw that money behind him again come November?
Oh, absolutely. Look, the general election will be different than the special election. I expect Troy Balderson to be the winner on Tuesday, but if he's not, he's still going to stand a really, really strong chance to get the seat back, and it's going to be a rented seat. Just because of the dynamics of the district, who he is, people will know him better, and just the whole contours of the race will change in November than they are today. Today, it's a special election. Democrats are euphoric around town. They've basically already claimed victory. That may change. That may stop on Tuesday night, but the whole thing's going to change once again in November.
Jai Chabria, thank you for joining us as we await the president's comments. Stick with us because we might dip back into you, Jay. Thanks.
Sure.
Yeah, don't go anywhere, Jay. So we're going to be waiting for the president to take the stage there in Lewis Center, Ohio. Campaigning again there for the Republican candidate is the word I'm looking for. Thank you very much, Mr. Balderson. Yes. We're going to